Hey everybody, it is Margaret and welcome to my channel, Texas Gal Treasures. Today is the weekly hangout. So I'm just going to be sharing what's been going on. Things are getting so real as far as our move and getting things ready for our switch to Austin. I've been shooting videos in both places so you can kind of see the progression of where we are. I promised that when we found out we were moving to Austin that I would bring you along, whether it's pretty or whether it's ugly, to let you know kind of the whole process of what we're doing and how we're moving and how we're doing, and just like the good, the bad, the ugly, basically. And right now, it's doing okay. You know, it's easy to be like less stressed when I'm not here in the midst of it all. You know, when I'm in Austin and we're, that's the exciting part. We're exploring, we're looking for where we're going to live, what's the area we're going to live in, and all of this stuff. So I thought I would just come on today, share with you guys kind of our process, our thought process, because definitely I've been getting a lot of amazing advice from you guys, because some of you have done this before, few times before. So I'm pointing at the chat so you can see where I'm pointing, but yeah. So I'm happy to do this and be here for you guys. And I said that because I'm responding to somebody in the chat, but yeah, so hello. Okay, so hello in the chat. I've got some really good friends in there that are visiting and here to chat. So Kaylee, Cindy, hello. Downio, I always say your name every time. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Hey, Amy and Darlene. Hi, Joni and Chrissy and everybody. Leslie, PJ, Tina, and Karen, Francis, Patricia. I'm going to say everybody. And Heidi had said, you're so generous with your time. And this to me is also therapeutic for me, because you know how it is. I as resellers or as stay-at-home moms, we don't have a whole lot of interaction, or even the adults. Like, we were at a party today, so I was talking to some of the other moms there, but they're not like, they don't do what I do. They don't get really what I do. Even the YouTube thing, they don't really get like what that, like, people watch. What, really? People watch you? Like, I mean, I don't talk about it a whole lot, but anyway, it's just different, right? So I can come here and you guys, you're my tribe. You're my people, right? So yeah, my kids are great right now. They're getting, this is their video game time. So normally when I get to come on, normally it's around this like lunchtime-ish time, because that's, you know, my kids do quiet time, video game time, and all of that. So okay, I'm going to answer some questions in the chat, and then I'll dive into some of the other things that we've got going on this week. So when is the move? So the move is kind of like, we're really fluid. We are moved and we're not moved, if that makes sense. We are moved and we're not moved. That's all I can say. So we have an apartment there, and we are working on dehousing here. It's not like delousing. We're dehousing here. So my dad is doing really well. We were just actually over there. I picked up this foam, like, for his knee. He just had knee surgery. If you guys are, he had his knee replaced. If you're wondering what we're talking about with my dad. So he had his knee replaced, and he's back, you know, he's home. He was actually walking some today without the cane. So he's doing pretty well. So yeah, he's doing well. I took, because I had a party with Mikey today. One of his buddies had a party. And so James went over to Granddad, and he took the radio. I mentioned the clock radio that we got. And so he and Granddad were picking the clock radio apart and trying to get it working. So that's awesome. And yes, you are my tribe. Yeah. I mean, there's like no other word for it. So my tribe. Anyway, because we get each other, right? I get you, you get me. I think I get you. I don't actually get to talk to you, but except for in the chat. But I think I get you. Okay. And the necklace, thank you. This is one that Sharon Pfeiffer sent me. Sharon, I've done a couple videos with Sharon talking about Bakelite. She's an author. And so she sent me some stuff after the flood that she was like, keep what you want, sell the rest, and whatever you choose to sell, put to the hurricane relief fund. And so this is one of the pieces that she sent that I kept. So I don't wear a whole lot like that, but I was like, I'm gonna wear that today. So yeah, so there's that. That's that. Oh, Carla, yeah, isn't Carla funny? I just love Carla in the UK. Yeah. Oh, what's her last name? It's Jenkins, I think. So Danielle. Okay, that's help. Thank you. The house hunt. Okay, so here's the deal. We are going around different areas, like figuring out, because it's easy on paper, or I'm looking on Zillow. It's easy to say, ooh, that looks nice, ooh, that's cool. I think the big thing is trying to figure out that we're in an area that we are comfortable in. We're in a nice town here. The problem we're having in this nice town is that it's it has that small town mentality. And there's really good things about that, and there are really hard things about that. And one of the hard things we have felt is the inclusive. We had a conversation today, like, this is a really exclusive town, right? It's hard to get homes in this town. It's hard. People want to move here because the schools are good. It's really like, quote unquote, exclusive. Well, the problem with that is that when it's exclusive, it's exclusive. So we've lived here for almost 5 years, and the few friends we have made are not from here because it's really cliquish with the people that live here. So we don't want to move from this to another version of this. So we're trying to be a little more, and for the most part, there's nothing wrong with it. Some people, don't get me wrong, there's some women here that are just out of control, need to get over themselves. Because, for example, there was a woman at the party today who I have seen, our kids go to the same school. Like, our boys are in the same grade, and we see each other when the boys were at school, we would see each other all the time. I know her name. Most certainly she knows who I am and my name, because we are whatever. But she's too good to even make eye contact. It's like that kind of person. Like, there's so many people like that are just like, they don't even want to be seen talking to somebody. It's that high school, like, super clique. Like, I am way too good to even make eye contact with the likes of you. That kind of, and I wish I was exaggerating, but I am not. So that is just like, I can't even. So I don't want to move from it. Now, there are really wonderful people that live here, but like I say, I don't think any of my friends here or anybody that talks to me on a regular basis, even just like, hey, when you see somebody, like, I see you all the time, we may not be best friends, we may not be friends, but like, you can make eye contact and acknowledge, like, oh, hey, how's it going? I see you. I've seen you at school. Now I see you at main event. How's it going? Nice to see you. That is it. The politeness, right? The niceties. But even, I know, getting rid of the spoon, grown women like this, but that's how it is. Like, some of them, it's just like, no, they won't even make eye contact with you because it's too much. They're too extra. You know what I mean? So I don't want to move from this to that. So we were looking at an area, and I don't want to be too blanket statementy about stuff. We were looking in Georgetown, and we had driven through. I'm like, oh, this is really quaint. This is really nice. But, and that's the thing, Chrissy, too, is that a lot of the people here that are like that are from here, they went to school here, and they come back here, and they stay here, and they, and a lot of them do have a lot of money, which, good for you, but that doesn't make you better than me or anybody else that just happens to not be from here and doesn't waste their money on stuff like that. Whatever, I don't know. Shoot, whatever, you know what I mean. Anyway, we don't want to go. So we went to this area. We drove around Georgetown, which I thought was really a nice. It looks, like it has the old town square and all of this. But I think part of the thing was that when we moved here, my husband is half Mexican, and so he was like, he wanted to see the demographics. That was important. So it's really white. And so there's nothing wrong with that. But he's like, Margaret, it's like really not diverse. The boys are not going to grow up with this, we have to figure out like, I don't know. So maybe it's not a thing. I don't know. So you live in Georgetown? Oh yeah. We enjoyed it. We drove around. The boys and I really explored on Friday, going more around Georgetown because we liked it a lot. So I don't know. And now Randy's like, well, now I want to live in Austin, because before we were talking about, well, let's move maybe Round Rock, Pflugerville, Georgetown. It's kind of north. But he's like, I want to feel like I live in Austin. And I was like, I want to feel like we've got a house that's big enough for us. So variety is the spice of life. Yeah. Okay, so there's that. I mean, that's what we're doing. That's what's going on. So today he was driving around, because here's the thing too. He asked his bosses at work what kind of areas they live in. And so they were like, oh, well, we live like northwest of Austin. And one of his bosses lived in, I think it's called Brushy Creek, Brushy Creek. So he went driving up there and was like, wow, Margaret, this is like real, like 3-car garages and like, and I was like, well, Randy, I looked in the houses in that area, and they're like $500,000 homes. So we're just gonna we're just crossing. He's like, I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. I was like, you're not. We're figuring out, like, we're narrowing things down. Like we're not, it might be a nice area, it might be big fancy schmancy houses, but it's not going to be where we move. So anyway, I was like, maybe don't ask the bosses where they have their $500,000 homes, because that's not going to be realistic. So yeah. So, okay, I'm looking back through the chat real fast because I just sort of went off on a tangent about snooty moms, but I could go on all day. Don't get me started. How's my mom progressing with me? My mom is she's getting kind of excited about going house hunting with me. She likes the idea of Georgetown too. She likes the idea of like the town square and that small town feel. I think as long as we don't end up in the same situation where we are now, realtors use widescreen camera lens to make rooms look bigger. You get there and it's really small. Yeah. So we just have to go in. It's hard to tell from the pictures from Zillow, but because my guys are outside a lot. We're out, gardening and playing outside. So having a big yard is kind of important. So we'll see. Oh yeah, totally high school. I don't know that. Let's see. Going. Yeah, the cultural thing. My mom. Okay. Oh yeah, I was telling James about the Quidditch World Cup. Leslie was mentioning that because they have the U.S. Quidditch, and James is like, wait, how does this work? Because they can't really fly, right? No, but I was like, I've already favorited their page, so I'll get updates when the Quidditch we're gonna go play. Yeah, we'll find it. Okay. Big house is nice if you have a maid. Yeah. Have you ever thought when you move, are you going to put? No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so with the public school. You're asking about if we would put the kids back in public school. No, not for a while anyway. So, I mean, it's something we might think about, but no, I don't think so. My dad's okay. Yeah, he's okay. I'm the only one of the kids that's still here. My mom is more of the clinging on one. So we're going to be looking at the calendar because she wants to come up too. The goal is to find a place that has, I mean, I know it sounds big, but to get a place with 5 bedrooms, if we can find a place that we could afford that, because and my parents are getting older, and my mom's really struggling with us moving. And so we want to have I wanted to have a space for her so that she's not freaking out as bad. You know what I mean? With us leaving. So I was like, well, you've got a space in our home, Mom. And that'll be, that's the dream. You go in with the big picture, and we're going to go to a realtor and say, yeah, Mom, the realtor, this is what we want. Now let's try to see where we have to compromise. The square lot. Oh, you work there? Okay, cool. Wendy, you have to tell me where you work, because we were all over it on Friday. We went and ate gumbo, and we went to eat ice cream in the toy store, and I bought a necklace in the antique store with the, yeah, it was cool. Okay, so there's that. We've been kind of poking around looking at houses and stuff like that. So next step is I realized like we haven't really set a timeline. And I know everybody keeps asking, well, when are you moving exactly? Like, we don't know. I don't know. Well, I started realizing we want to rent out this house that we're in right now because we're not ready to like pull up roots just in case we have to come back. Like I said, my parents are older and live here. So yeah, first floor mom's room for sure. Yeah. My mom does not do stairs. So I realized like if we want to get this house rented, I feel like people are going to be looking at wanting to move into the area probably during the summertime before school starts because we have, it's a 1-story house and we're on a cul-de-sac and it'd be great for kids. And so I was like, wow, if we want to do that, then we need to really start hustling to get out of this house because there's things we need to do to it in order to rent it. And then I don't know, these are big question marks. So if you know, let me know. Like because once you are renting a house, the things you do to your house can be written off, right? And I'm like, do I have to be out of the house when I start doing these like renovations and fixing up things? For me to write it off. But if I'm living in the house, does this make sense to you guys at all? Do you know what I'm talking about? So I'm like, okay, we need to get out so that I can start dealing with the carpets because I want to, do that. But it's like, well, if I can write it off and I'll wait till we're out and then I'll deal with it and then I can write it off. Okay. And then the other stuff, right? I may be worrying unnecessarily. So we decided to take your advice from last time. I think Joni and a couple other people mentioned, getting a pod because I'm like, I don't even know where we're going. How are we going to move out of here? So we get a pod, put it in there, and then they store it. And then when we find a place, so Randy called and he priced it all out today. So we're getting a pod delivered. So now here's the next fancy step. It's not really that fancy, but here's we're trying to figure out, can we downsize enough to fit everything into one pod? Or are we crazy? So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I need to just make a call to the CPA because that's just like one more thing, right? Just one more thing. Because I know like you have to pay taxes on the income from a renter. And I mentioned that to a girlfriend of mine who has rental property. And I was like, and she's like, no, you end up having enough write-offs and you don't even have to worry about it. I'm like, I don't know enough to know not to worry about it. So yeah, that's kind of where we're. Go ahead. You would tell me if I had lipstick on my teeth, right? I did earlier. So a true friend would. Okay. How much is the pod? It's kind of like the prices are different. Like there's a price for them to drop it off. And then there's a price for them to keep it every month, like a storage locker. Then there's a price to deliver it from here to Austin, which is the big price. But I was telling Randy, like, even if we hired movers and had movers come in here and load up the truck and drive it to Austin, it's going to cost that much. And then if we have to get a storage locker and then physically getting it all out and then physically So I think just the convenience of it too. I mean, it might be a little bit more expensive, but honestly, it was like $200. They quoted him about maybe a little over $200 a month to store the storage locker thing or the pod or whatever it is. So when will my shops reopen? I don't know. I have a couple things that I am so sorry that a couple people bought from a video, and I meant to ship them out before I left for Austin, and I forgot. And so those are going out tomorrow morning. But I'm clearing out my shops. That was another suggestion that I got from some people. Was just I'm going through and just it's been in my shop for some things have been in my shop for like 4 years. 3 years, like, okay, it's just time. Like, okay, I don't need to stress about this. Time to go and really just, go back to paring down again. Because there was a time when I was just buying everything, and then I started just really zoning in on jewelry and a couple other things. And then Randy lost his job, and I was opening back up to everything again. And now he's got a job, and I'm like, okay, I can start zoning it back. I guess it's just life. That's kind of what I was. Part of the things I put in the description of the video was like, let me read what I wrote. Taking it easy, knowing when you're making right decisions, and knowing that decisions change, right? Because that's part of one life and then part of, I think, when we get down on ourselves, it's like, but I already made this choice. I made this decision. I was going to do it this way. And then something happens and my choice has to, like, what I want, you're clinging on to this decision from before when things have to change. And so I think part of, like, just taking it easy on yourself and knowing that, life is fluid, and then that you're going to make changes as your life changes. So I'm just like, I know I've said in past videos, and I've gotten criticism like, good Scott, you're so wishy-washy. And some people are so, they make these comments, like, one minute you're happy and the next minute you're upset, and just, just suck it up. And just, one person was like, stop whining, you know what you need to do. And I was just like, you know what? Welcome to life, right? Everybody has these moments where where you're up and you're like, okay, I'm so excited about this move, or excited about whatever change in life it is. And then certain realities start sinking in, and you're like, whoa, this is a really daunting task. And you start maybe freaking out a little bit, and it's just normal. And I think even personally, like, I get so down on myself and thinking like, is this not normal? Now I'm low, and then I'm really happy and excited. And I'm like, no, it's human nature. I think it's just human nature. And I think there's so many, I don't know if it's the whole culture of you want an antidepressant so you don't feel anything. I don't know. Anyway, it's my part. I can whine if I want to. That's right. I think it's just life, because so yeah, now I'm paring back down again, and that's my choice because it feels right, and I'm a big proponent of, like, when something is going to feel right. You know what I mean? When Randy's been wanting to move for a long time, and it just never felt right. He got this job, and I've never really thought about moving because we're so close to my family, and I've always felt like we're going to be here for my parents as they age. And then it was just like, I know some people, it's religious, it's like, they'll say, God speaks to you, and you just know. So, whether you want to put it that way, or just, the intuition, or however, the universe is speaking to you, saying, it's okay, this is the right move. But when it's not the right move, you can feel it and it. So it's like the same thing with me saying, like, I am cutting all this inventory. It's a long story to get back to that, right? I'm clearing out a lot of my inventory that I've had in my shops. It feels like the right thing to do, So, and I know I've had a lot of people say, why are you doing this? Just box it all up, take it with you, deal with it when you get there. And that might be the right thing for somebody else, and that might be the right thing for you. But I'm dealing with what's feeling right for me. And I need to, like, whoosh, do the right thing for me, right? Yeah. Okay, let me peek in the chat real quick, because I just sort of went off on a tangent, because that's what I do sometimes. Oh, you want the coral and turquoise ring? Oh, okay. Yeah, I can turn it back on for you. Which shop are you looking at, eBay or Etsy? I'll figure it out. Or we can, if we can, Danielle, I can PayPal invoice you. It's no biggie. Yeah, changing plans when life changes is it's hard, yeah. And knowing, like, everything is, I don't know. And that's part of when, okay, it's like a Buddhist, idea is, like, when you're stressed and when you're feeling sick about things, and it's because you're wanting life to be different than it is, and if you were in the moment and with, this is what it is. And you can either be in the moment with what it is, or you can cling to other things and what you want and what you wish and what and that, like, those clingings and, like, can really make you sick and stressed. Or you can be like, okay, this is what it is, and let's figure out how to move forward with it and figure out our perspective. I don't know. Look how philosophical we're getting today, you guys. All right. All right, back in the chat real fast. Yeah, okay. So I'm not alone, Phyllis, right? And she says, my husband thinks I'm a yo-yo about eBay and reselling. You're not alone. Yes, don't pay attention to those people. Yeah, it's just how life is, right? Isn't it funny when people get behind a fake username and they can just like say the ugliest things? Who does that anyway? I don't know. Yeah, it happens to everybody, but in just different ways, Connie says. Yeah. Christine says, love your sharing what you're going through in this process of moving your life to it. Yeah. Oh, it's tough. And other people are going to go through this too, right? So we went from Michigan to Florida, Diane says, rented a house from Only Pictures. Yeah. Thanks, Jacqueline. Okay. Yeah, extraordinary vintage is relatable. I'm always switching my store inventory around. And I've been thinking about that too. I'm just like, this is the perfect time for a reset. Like, this is a perfect time for me to say, hey, maybe my Texas Gal Treasures shop is just going to be jewelry. Maybe I start another shop with my other vintage stuff. Maybe, I mean, this might be the time where it's just like, because you get into some of those Etsy shops. There was one I was looking at the other day because I torture myself looking at Art Deco jewelry. And I was looking at one, I was like, oh, her shop was just divine. And it was just all jewelry and just like these beautiful pictures of vintage and antique jewelry. And I was just, anyway, I was like, oh, this is just so nice to just go through and look at and wish. It was like the Sears catalog when you were a kid going through, like circling the toys or whatever. This was my just wishing on the things that I wish I could afford in her shop. But anyway, this is the particular shop that I can't remember what it's called actually, but I should. When Randy and I hit our 10-year anniversary, we never got, and I'm actually not wearing it, but we never got a diamond ring or anything like that we just had wedding bands. And so on our 10-year anniversary, I was like, look, I want a wedding ring. But I don't want to go to Zales and buy a wedding ring, So I said, let me find one on Etsy. And so this woman she goes to estate sales and antique auctions and stuff she's in London, but she goes all over Europe. And she got this Art Deco ring in an auction in France, and so she was telling me all about it. And anyway, so I always go back to her store because I got that wonderful ring from her. So anyway, I don't remember how I got there. Oh yeah. Creating, maybe this is a good time to really reset and create a new shop, on Etsy, where I have my jewelry in one. Texas Gal Treasures is the jewelry, and then another one for all the other, my accordion hooks and my ostrich eggs and all the other weird doodads I pick up here and there. You know what I mean? So yeah. I might do that. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, y'all are so great. Thanks so much for the encouragement and stuff. And since we're talking about that, because I also put in I was going to talk about good friends. I want to say thank you to you guys because I've definitely been really encouraged by a lot of your words and kindness, and I've really been encouraged by I don't know. I get a lot of really nice messages encouraging me and a lot of advice too with, you guys that have gone through this before. So I'm really grateful. And I mean it when I say like, you're my tribe. I really mean it. Gosh, I feel I'm not preachy today, but just really sentimental. Darlene, thank you so much for that super chat. She just super chat $20. And that means a lot, a lot. So thank you for that. And also I want to thank, and I shared this on Instagram, and I also shared it on Facebook, is that I got this in the mail when I came back from Austin. This was sitting on my front porch, not like this, but in another box. So it says 12 days of socks, Harry Potter. So it's 12 days of Harry Potter socks. And I'm going to be sharing every day my new pair of socks. It's like an advent calendar for socks. So day 1 has already been opened, and they're on my feet right now. But if you want to see on Instagram what they look like, there's that. And this was sent to me by my friend Jason T. Smith, and he said that when I was asking him, because at first I thought it was Randy, because Randy had sent me pictures of this, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, Margaret, they have 12 days of Harry Potter socks," and you know, he was sharing. Was it him or my sister? I think it was him. Anyway, so at first I thought it was Randy, so I called him. I was like, "Did you send me socks?" And he's like, "No." I was like, "Oh, it must have been Jason," because he'd asked for my address. So I messaged him, and he said, "Yeah," and he said he had to thank his lifeguards in the thrifting board because they gave him some ideas. So if you are one of Jason's lifeguards, you did good. You did good. And you know what? It's a smart man to go to ask advice of other people, women. What would make Margaret happy? Socks. Well, socks. Harry Potter. Anyway, so thank you, Jason. I don't know. He probably doesn't watch, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay. And I missed it. I know somebody had said, "Why don't you build a house?" Yeah, we'll see. Money. We'll see. Okay, let me catch up in the chat. Again, thank you so much, Darlene. Oh gosh, I feel like I'm missing a lot. I feel like I always trust your gut. Absolutely, Jacqueline. Yeah. Moving, building a house, very stressful. Everything happens for a reason, and this may have just happened the perfect time for you. I can't agree more, Connie. Honestly, it just feels so right. And I never felt like, and Austin was never really on my radar of where I wanted to live. I mean, I like it, okay, but it was never really like I felt drawn to Austin. But when it happened, it was like, oh yeah, let's do this. And as we've been, like, the kids didn't want to come home yesterday. They enjoyed it so much. We took a walk. We went. I mean, this is how magical it was just in one day. We went to take a walk. We walked down the Greenbelt. There was a stream. We went down to the stream. Later, James went down there and caught a crawfish, and he just, like little minnows and things like that. And then on our way back from the park and the walk, we saw deer. And I mean, it was just like, we went to the state capitol. It was just there was just so much that just was magical for the kids, and so much wonder, you know what I mean? And whether it's just being in a new place and exploring, or whether that's just part of it, it just felt really, I don't know, I keep saying magical. It just felt like there was so much wonder and so much discovery for the kids, and I don't know. Leslie says, feels like a lot of work to pare down, but you feel amazing once you get settled. Oh yeah, yeah. And my brother, and this is also, I've talked about, we're going through my grandmother's storage locker and how stressful it's been. And it's a good thing I put up that video about how stressed out I was, because my mom saw it and didn't realize how stressed I was. My brother saw it, who lives in Dallas, and didn't realize how stressed out I was. And they're both like, you don't have to take this on by yourself, because I think I know how stressed out my mom was about it. And so I just took it and did it for her, because it's her mom's stuff and a lot of her grandmother's stuff too. So it's like my grandmother and great grandmother stuff, and then so my brother's like, well, I'm coming this weekend. Let's take care of this. So, he's coming. So Saturday, Randy's going to be here watching the kids, and my brother and my mom and I are going up, and we're going to take care of it, so it ended up being a good thing that I shared that I was so stressed out. So that was good. Julie says, when my kids, especially my daughter's diagnosis, I have to learn, here you go, God, no matter how much you worry or stress, it does nothing. It doesn't change anything. Do your best. Yes. Just breathe. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Phyllis says, I get down on myself with eBay, Posh, and other reselling apps, and the next day I'm up. It's true. You are doing well. Right now I'm not listing anything. And I'm not listing anything, and I'm not putting shirts up on merch. I'm just like I'm school, I homeschool, so we're doing school and we are doing downsizing. That's kind of what we're doing right now. And if I get other things done, then that's what I do. So I'm paring down my business. I'm still working on my business side. I'm, paring things down and figuring out, organizing. So yeah, talking about it all in this way, honestly, it's not, I mean, it's stressing me out in a way. I want to share, but when I start looking at the big picture, like there's this and 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 there's this. I don't know if it's just me. Can you guys turn off Alexa? I'm not very good at eating the elephant. You know what I mean? If you know what they say is if you have to eat an elephant, you do it one bite at a time. Again, I would not really eat an elephant, but boys, Alexa, please. But even when I was teaching school, I would see the end, like where we had to be at the end. And even though I knew it was going to take us 6-8 months to get there, I would get so stressed. So it's just like forcing myself to take these smaller bites and trying not to focus on what the end needs to look like, because that's when I start like boom, 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 and getting scared. So as I'm telling you all this, piece by piece by piece by piece, it's just getting bigger, bigger, and bigger and scarier. So yeah. Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay, gosh, I'm so far behind in the chat. Rip and Reseller, my family thinks I'm crazy when I talk about my YouTube friends. That's true. Yeah, it's a total tribe. It is. And I'm like, why haven't I like clicked on that before? But it's, there's a song called In My Tribe. Anyway, is it a song? It's an album? Anyway. Yeah, but I've met so many people from YouTube. Are you kidding me? If I never started YouTube, I would never have met Jason. And like people that I'm friends with like in real life now. Yeah, there's like I have internet friends. And then I have like we have met in person and done stuff in person, and you just click with people that you would have never. I mean, I've got friends in the UK I still have never met in person, but I talk to a lot, just yeah. So it's because I mean, it's not what we do is not something you don't find, it's not like you go find firefighters and there's some firefighters, or, like I work in a nail salon and or a beautician, and you can find other people that you click with, like, oh yeah, I do that too. Or there's a meetup group for my husband's React computer stuff, like there are a few meetups for Reseller, but it's really, I don't know, we're almost really hermity people sometimes. So bringing a lot of resellers together is interesting. It's fun though. Anyway, I think you get what I'm talking about. Maybe. I don't know. But I did get asked, oh gosh, who was asking me yesterday, am I going to do Austin meetups when I get there? I was like, oh yeah, I've done meetups here. So it's awesome because, like you guys watch Thelma Thrift. So I get to meet Thelma Thrift and some of the other people that are resellers around here. Some, just amazing people. Cool people. We're all crazy together. That's right. Caught you live. Can you shout out? Say, hey, Scott and Caitlin. How's it going, guys? Are you taking my cats with me to Texas? Oh yeah. And we're in Texas, but we're going to Austin. I think maybe that's what you meant. But yeah, we're going to take the cats, and we're actually thinking about splitting the cats. Like, because Randy's really lonely sometimes, and he's like, I really want the cats. Even though he's here all the time. I don't know. Anyway. So, g'day. How are you? I am checking through the chat before small bite plan. Yeah, an end date. And that's what I was telling Randy too. Like, I can't just have this like stretching out into a question mark future. Like, I need to know some like timelines, because otherwise I'm just like, I guess I'll like fiddle with this stuff in here. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, Phil says, I have a YouTube channel, but not reselling. It's piano playing. Cool. Worldwide tribe. Yeah. Okay. So let me see if I got to all the stuff I was going to talk about. So perspective, we talked a bit about that, like trying to maintain perspective. Yeah, I think so. I think I hit it all. Sort of roundabout everywhere. Yeah, so I appreciate you guys, and this is I will be putting up videos every day still, like I do, and Yeah. We have a munch pack we need to do. So I know that's not one of my most watched videos because people, I don't know, it's not reselling related, but my kids love it. So we'll be putting out the munch pack probably tomorrow. I was going to do it today, but we didn't get to do it. Okay, so go down there and hit that thumbs up, you guys. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but it helps the channel and I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, go down there and hit that subscribe button because it also helps the channel a lot and I would appreciate it. So I will see you guys later. Bye, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. I'll talk to you later.